Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Xavier Franklin, who will be fighting on Peak Fighting 30 against Corey Sutcliffe. Hello, Xavier. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good.
Xavier, I think that your next fight would be quite a good one. So please tell me, what do you know about your opponent? And after this fight, after a win, what would be next for you?
Uh, so what do I know about him? I know everything about him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those fighters. I do all my research. I get in depth. I know a lot about him, and I know the main takeaway from him is I know he's from Australia. So I know a lot of Aussies. They like to fight. So I know he's gonna be there to fight, which is good because I like to fight too. But I just think he doesn't have enough dog and enough skills in this fight to beat me. But I'm not gonna look past him. He's tough, he's tall, he's rangy, he's got a little bit of experience under his belt, like with the striking of Muay Thai or whatever. But this is MMA, and that's not enough. But I mean, I would say after this fight, I'm not gonna look past him. I don't look past anybody. You got to stay focused on the task at hand. But I would say after this fight, I'm probably gonna make my way back down to 25. That's what we've been talking about. I mean, I couldn't say it on here because it's a nice little interview. So whenever people see it, they'll be surprised. But yeah, probably gonna go back down to 25 and see, because like I got my nutrition right. I've been talking to nutritionists. He's been getting me right, and it's just like now that I'm eating better. Because like in amateurs, it's a little bit harder. I wasn't eating as good. You're trying to figure stuff out as an amateur, but when you turn pro, you kind of get more things in line. So yeah, probably go down to 25. Get those. I don't even care about the belts and peak. I mean, if I get it, cool. But as long as I'm still winning, that's what I want. The goal is to go to the UFC and get the belt there. That's like the bigger picture. So yeah, just probably go down to 25 or keep fighting 35. I mean, I feel good either way. I mean, I could be a double champ if I want. You know what I mean? So it's whatever I feel. But I feel after this, I'll probably go to 25. But if not, I'll still stay at 35. I'm strong either way. It's fine.
Yes, and it is quite interesting that you have you fought in a flyweight division as the amateur, but you always fighting either as the bantamweight or in a catchweight division as the pro. So it will be like your debut as the flyweight.
Yeah, you do your research. You do. Okay, yeah.
Yes, and I also think that your first pro bout against a much taller opponent was I think it could be a quite challenge for you because he was much taller. He had better reach than you, but it was a quite close fight. So
Yeah, that fight a lot. So it's crazy because a lot of people don't know. So I was supposed to fight somebody else. He was a fill-in opponent, which is, I mean, kind of normal in MMA. People back out left and right, whatever. And I had been out for like 3 years basically because I got hurt, so I was out for a year, and then COVID happened, so 2 years, whatever. And yeah, that fight was interesting. There's a lot that happened in that fight. I didn't have the best camp. I don't make excuses. I lost. I take it on the chin. I feel like it's only made me better as a fighter. So kudos to him for beating me. But I mean, he was active. He was up and coming, prospect, whatever. I wasn't inactive. And then in the fight, I ended up getting poked in the eye in the first round. And it just, from round one till the rest of the fight, I couldn't see out of my left eye. So everything was black. So everybody was like, well, why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing that? Or you get hit with this and get hit with that. I was like, well, I couldn't see, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's all good. It happens. It's the name of the game, is the sport, the eye pokes. Big deal, but I mean, you're gonna fight or you're just gonna cry about it. I lost. I take it on the chin. You gotta do what you gotta do. His range at first, it didn't really surprise me because I knew what he was gonna do. Like I said, I do my research on everybody. I count the amount of things that they're gonna do in a round in a minute, how many times they're gonna do it, the type of opponent they're doing against. I do all my research on that type of stuff. So he did everything I thought he was gonna do. He just upped his numbers a little bit more. The only thing I didn't account for is getting poked in the eye. But you know what I'm saying? Who accounts for that? Which is something you should though, because the gloves, whenever like they kind of make your fingers stick out like this instead of going down. But I mean, it's just name of the game is what happens. But I feel like if me and him ever met again, I don't know if we will, but if we ever met again, I feel like it'd be a different outcome the second time.
Yes, and it is always also hard to train for this kind of thing, because even if you have this in mind, it's like your sparring partner will not poke you in the eye,
Yeah,
just to train this.
exactly. Yeah, my coach, it's crazy because my coach is like, you know what? We'll actually train for situations like this. I'm not gonna give away it because I know Corey, he kind of does it too. Like he likes to sometimes reach out with his hands. So obviously we're gonna tell him in the rules meeting, like tell him, hey, make sure he ain't got his hands out because it's a serious problem. Like you don't know, like you've accidentally been poked in the eye before, and you're like, like it just combobulates you. So imagine being in a fist fight and somebody like literally jabs you in the eye with their finger, like a punch. It's completely different feeling. Since like a shock to your body, you can't function. But yeah.
And as the amateur, you were undefeated in LFA, and LFA is, I think, that the best regional promotion. And is there a chance for you to compete there as the professional?
So right now I'm signed under Pete. Shout out Pete, shout out my boy Johnny for getting me lined up and taking a chance on me. So I really appreciate him for that. And yeah, I did fight for LFA. And we had like some talks. Like after my last fight, I tried to contact him and stuff, and we talked a little bit, but like it was kind of just like here, there. So I was just like, I can't keep waiting. Like like a lot of my fight career, like a lot of stuff I had to wait on because like a lot of pullouts, a lot of things like that. So it's like I didn't want to wait. So I was like, we're trying to make steps. Like I'm trying to fight 2-3 times a year, like maybe 4 if I can. So we're just trying to hit everybody like, hey, we want to do this, we want to do this. We want to be smart, but not dumb at the same time. Like, because there's a couple of promotions that were like wanting me to fight for them, but they were trying to get me to take like short notice stuff at 125. And I was like, I can't make that weight. Like it's a hard weight cut for me. Like I don't have that much fat. I have more muscle. So, it's more of like a diet thing as opposed to just cut all the weight. It's not that easy.
And in last year, you had 2 fights in 6 weeks, so you can be really busy, because 2 fights in 6 weeks is, I think, that really, really tough challenge. So is there a chance for you to compete like 3 or 4 more times in this year, or you prefer just maybe 1 more?
Oh, no, I want to fight at least 3 times this year, at least. You know what I mean? At least 2 for sure. Because what are we in? June, July, August, September. So I'll probably fight again. Like I come out of this fight unscathed. Probably October, November again. And then if come out that fight unscathed too, probably try to get that last one in maybe like December or something. Try to squeeze it out or something.
Yeah, so like a gift on the Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
And please tell me about your beginning in the sport in MMA.
My beginning in the sport of MMA. So I started off wrestling in high school. So like my main thing is pretty much wrestling. I mean, you can't tell because I knock everybody out and just keep it on the feet. And I like to bang. I don't know what you would say. I like to fight, but yeah, I started off wrestling in high school, and then I pretty much I went through high school freshman year wrestling, boom, 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 all the way my senior year, and I got pretty good. Like I was having like scholarships and all this stuff for wrestling, like placed in a couple national tournaments, became an All-American, all that good stuff, and then I ended up getting hurt, so all my scholarships and stuff got taken away. So then I was just like stressed, depressed, didn't know what to do pretty much, just real bad stuff. So then I ended up going to a community college, like, because I was like, well, I got to still do something. So when I got hurt, I went to community college, and it was just like, I was going to go to school to be like a doctor or a nurse. Like, I mean, I didn't really care because all I was going to school for was to wrestle. But once I got taken out of the picture, then it kind of just changed everything. You know what I mean? So then went to college like for like a year and a half. It was just like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like my goal in high school was to go to college and become an Olympic champion. Like that Olympic gold was That was the main goal. I had coaches, everything was set up, you know, but when you get injured, there's just some things you can't prepare for. So that was something I wasn't able to prepare for. So then went to college. I'm in college, just kind of going through the motions, not really, you know, enjoying it because I'm in a community college. I wasn't even like full university, all this. So I'm trying to get on my credits so I could transfer to a community college. But the whole time, like I had like the injury I had was internal bleeding. So it happened from cut. You know, they told me it happens when you cut too much weight, like your organs. A lot of things just start to fail. You know, you see fighters all the time. They just get hospitalized because of the weight cuts. So in high school, I went from like, I would give you an example, like I think it was my senior season. I was playing football at the time. I was like 160 and I was the captain of the team. So I had to go from 160 to 126 in like a week or less. You know, eventually those things are going to catch up to you. You know what I mean? So eventually caught up to me, went to the doctor and they were just like, and the main thing was they didn't know where the bleeding and stuff was coming from. So like they told me, they were like, well, we don't know where it's coming from and we can't tell you that you can wrestle because if you do wrestle, you could possibly die. Like you're running a risk. You know what I mean? So then at that moment, I was like, well, what does that mean? I got to get ready for a national tournament next week. Like let's go, let's get this show on the road. And they're like, well, that means you can't wrestle anymore. So I was like, what? Like I can't wrestle. And then it just got really sad, depressed, you know, just life was really bad. Cause all I had at that time for me was like wrestling. That's all I wanted to do. I played football my whole life, but like wrestling was something that I wanted to do for myself. You know what I mean? So whenever you find something that you're actually passionate about and you get good at it, people start investing times and money into you because they feel like, oh, this is his passion. I can help him get closer to his passion. And then something like that happens. It's just like, man, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a man of God, but at that time I was just like questioning everything. I was like, why would you give me everything just to, you know, take it away type thing? So I'm in college thinking all this stuff, and I ended up going to like this like a church retreat camp or whatever. And I was just like, I didn't want to go because I was like, there's no reason for me to go. You know what I mean? I'm like, I already lost everything. What's the reason? But like within that camp, I really needed it because like I ended up asking like God for myself, like, what was the reason? Why would you take everything away if you know, you show me all these nice things, nice where I can actually take things just to take it away. And then like when I talked to him and he talked to me back, he was just like, you forgot me in the process. Like basically I made wrestling my God type thing. So I quickly realized, I was like, dang, you know, so then some time went by after I came back from the retreat. I was all good, saved, you know, just feeling great. I ended up going back to the doctor and asking, like, you know, we had to do the checkup. They're like, how you feeling? I'm like, I feel better. That's why I'm here. Like, I feel like there's nothing wrong, but I don't know. They're like, okay, well, we'll look. They did the whole thing. They looked at me and they were like, well, we don't know what to tell you because like just a few weeks ago you were, you know, you had what you had, but now there's nothing there. Like we can't even. The doctor's like, it's a miracle. That's the only thing I can say. Like you're blessed. Like so, I was just like, dang, what? Like, bro. But at this time, I'm like, man, like I'm in college already, so it's like, what am I gonna do? You know? So I was happy, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't have anything. I don't have wrestling. I don't have. So then I started I just started like thinking in my head. I was like, what's another way I can touch gold? Like, how can I get gold around my neck or my waist if I don't have wrestling? And I mean, essentially, I could have kept wrestling. Like, I could have took step, but like in my head, it was already out the window. All this stuff happened. Like, I knew that door was closed. So I was like, what's another way? So then I just started watching more MMA, and I've always watched MMA, even when I was younger. Like, I played the UFC games. Like, John Jones was my favorite fighter, and then Conor McGregor. Like, so when Conor McGregor started like doing his thing, like over in Ireland and was fighting in cage fighters, I was watching him a lot. So I was like seeing like his story and his come up and like all the things he was doing. I'm like, man, this guy has it worse than me. Like, but like at the same time, I'm thinking with the same thing he thinks. Like, he was like, it's almost like he was delusional, but he had to be delusional to get where he was. And that mindset and that mentality, I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm gonna do MMA. Like he's talking to me, so I'm gonna do MMA. So like for me and Conor, like I know a lot of people give him flack now for how he is and all that, but a lot of people don't understand, man. That guy literally came from nothing. So like anytime I see him, like, I always remember, like, that he's the reason, like, he sparked it back in me. Like, I've always had it, but when I seen him fight, talk, and just how he was, and just how he was just laser focused, it was just like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, and all odds against me. I don't have anything, nothing, not a pot to piss in anything. I'm still gonna do this. I'm still the champion in my brain. I'm still I got all the money, all the cars, everything without having anything. He already had it here. And for me, I was like, you know what, that's what I'm gonna do. So then in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm doing my research. I'm like, all right, how do I start? Like, what do I so I'm like doing a bunch of research, like just, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know where to start. I guess you need to find a gym. So as I'm doing this, I'm still going through college, and I ended up going to this class. I don't know what the class was called. It's like a life class, I guess, about like the professor was just like, like we're gonna have an essay and we're gonna write about what you want to do in life. What do you feel like your purpose in life is? She was like, despite your parents paying for your college or you being in college or you doing like, what do you want to do as like a person or individual? And so then and that was my chance to like really express like, okay, I want to be an MMA fighter. I want to get the gold belts. Like I feel like this is my second chance. God gave me my second chance to get gold. You know what I mean? So I wrote an essay or whatever, boom, 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 turned it in. A few weeks go by, and then the professor's like, she gives us the papers back. She's like, all right, here you go. She like puts mine like face down. And, when they put it face down, you're like, oh man, she put it face down. I know it's crazy, right? So then she was like, just see me after class. And I was like, oh my gosh, all right. So then after class, she was talking to me and she was like, I read your paper and I felt like I was going through this whole journey with you as you were writing it all down. Like, and she started tearing up. And she was like, if this is how you feel and this is what you really want to pursue, I'm not saying to leave college, but like if college isn't going to help you get there, then you should, do what you got to do. I'm not your parent, but if it was me, it's your dream. If this is your dream, I feel like you should chase your dream. And I like started tearing up, and I told her, I was like, yeah, like this is my dream. Like, and thank you. Like this is what I needed to hear from somebody. Like, even like my family was calling me like crazy and stuff, like fighting. What are you talking about? Like, you gonna. So then I took the paper, I hugged her. And as I was walking down the stairs, my friends were like, oh, where are you going? We got to go to the next class. And I was like, nah. They're like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to chase my dream. And I just left college. Like, I didn't even look back. Like, just left. And, like in the movies, like when you leave in the doors and it's like, happy see, I left, but I'm like, all right, what do I do next? You know what I mean? So, like, I didn't really have like a car or I didn't have anything, like literally nothing. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car, nothing, no gym. So as I'm like trying to figure out all these things, like I'm talking to one of my very close friends, and I'm like expressing to him like, hey bro, like just telling him like what I want to do and all this stuff. And he just looked at me, he's like, damn bro, like I really believe in you. Like, and I was asking like a bunch of my family members and stuff, like I just need like some money so I can find a gym, like just a little bit of money so I can, nobody was giving me any. And I was like, dang, like, I feel like they really don't believe in me. You know what I mean? So then I'm just like talking to my friend. I'm like, yeah, bro, I've been asking my family and I just don't think they understand and see the vision. Like, I know right now I don't have anything, but I feel like a lot of people start like this. Like, and I was like, Connor started like this. He's on social welfare and all this stuff. Like his girlfriend was driving him around in her car. She's believed in him. You know what I'm saying? He's getting flack from his family every day, all the time. So I was like, I feel like I'm in the same boat. And he was just listening to me talk. And he just looked at me. He's like, bro, I really believed in you. And I want to say it was like drug money, but it was drug money. Cause I got friends in different places. Like he's a great guy, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. He gave me some money and he was like, look, bro, I feel like what you're telling me, I see it and I feel it. So I feel like you need this money, take this money and go, do what you gotta do. Like, go try to chase your dream. I'm helping you. Like, if this is what I can do for you, then do this. You know what I mean? So then he did that, and I was like, dang, like, all right, bro. Like, and then like a few days later, he got shot in the head twice. Thank God he's still alive, but like, I thought he was gonna die. Like, it's a bunch of stuff. And then I ended up finding like like a UFC gym, basically, like you know those UFC fit gyms, like. So I went in there, and it wasn't even like it's not really like real coaches in there, unless I guess you go to like the UFC Pi or something. But like the one I was at is like it doesn't even exist anymore. Like after I left, it shut down. But I went in there and there was like one fighter. There's two fighters. There's a jiu-jitsu coach. One fighter was under Johnny Hendrix's like little camp at the time, you know, when he had like the house and had like a bunch of fighters. He had that one of those. And then there's another fighter who was like a wrestler from New Mexico, but he was like a striker and stuff. And I started there, and like now that I'm looking at it, they could only teach me so much because they were still fighting and still kind of young in the game. So they understood where I was coming from, like the aspect of wanting to do it, but like the actually implementing the skills and all these things, it was like a big gap, right? So I had my best friend Corey. He like seen me doing it, and he was getting back into boxing because he was a Golden Gloves boxer when he was younger. And he was like, he hit me up and he was like, yo, bro, like I see you fighting and all this stuff. So am I. Like I just joined this gym, George Pavolsky's Muay Thai and boxing gym. Like I think you should come. Like, you know, the coach is like Russian. I could barely understand him. Like, I think you'll like it. There's a lot of like young guys here and all this. And I'm one of those like loyal guys. I don't like jumping gyms and jumping ship. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like once I'm with you, I'm with you. Even win, lose, draw, whatever, I'm with you. I'm not gonna switch up, you know? So then I'm telling him, I was like, nah, bro. Like I'm at the gym. I'm at this gym. Like I'm good. I'm not gonna leave these guys, you know? Like I don't want to be known as the guy that just hops gyms. Like I know how people in the MMA community or just fighting community in general looks at people for hopping gyms, you know? And he's like, all right. So then like my coach now, he was like, for this, he kept telling my friend, tell him to come. And he was like, but if he beats our best guy, he could stay at his gym. But if he loses, he has to join us and all this. And I was like, bro, like, I don't know. Like, I fought. Like, I used to street fight a lot when I was younger, like a lot. But like fighting in MMA and street fighting is totally different. It's totally different. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I got wrestling, but I was like, I don't know how to like fight like, you know, combat like that. And he was like, all right, I'll tell him. And we just kept going back and forth. And eventually one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to come. He keeps bothering. I'm going to come. Right. So I go, walk into George's, and he's just like, so you're the guy? I'm like, yeah. He's like, just jump in. He doesn't even. So it was like the MMA class. And I'm fresh out of like high school / college kind of, because I only did like a year and a half. So my wrestling is still like super sharp. So they're like, all right, let's like start rolling everybody, whatever. I'm like, all right. So they're like, let's wrestle at everybody. They're like, wrestle everybody first, so you know, so we can see like where you're wrestling. So I'm really like just blast doubling air. I'm just like running through everybody. And they're like, oh shit, okay. So then they're like, all right, now let's grapple. Like let's do wrestling, jiu-jitsu. So I'm like, all right. So I start going for blast doubles. They start putting me in guillotines. I'm guillotine left and right. I'm just like, I'm tapping. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like getting all mad. I'm like, yo, like, what? Like, I don't even know what to do to that. Like, so then they're all just kind of like looking at me smirking. And I'm like, damn. So then after the class is over, my coach was like, well, how was it? And I was like, it was good. Like, I kept getting submitted. I don't know anything. He was like, oh, okay. He's like, you think you'll join? I was like, I'll let Corey know if I'll come back. So I ended up going back to the UFC gym and talking to one of the fighter guys, the coaches. And he knew who George was. And he was like, no, they're really good over there. Like, they're striking and everything. Like, they got some really good guys. Like, and he told me, he was like, you just got to be careful with some of these gyms, because like a lot of the gyms will throw you to the wolves. Like they'll bring you in and then they'll not look out for you. Like, yeah, come with us. And then they'll put you in a fight. Like your debut, you're fighting a guy with 4 fights, 4-0 or something like that. And I was like, yeah. He's like, but I think you'll be okay over there. He's like, they're not bad people over there. Like all this good stuff. And I just told him, I was like, yeah, bro, I think this is where I should go. Like I should take my talent over there and just kind of see how it works out. And he was like, yeah. He's like, regardless, I'm gonna be here for you. I was like, all right. So then I just took that journey to George's, and I've been there ever since. I haven't looked back. He got me this far, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yes, and I think that the wrestling that you had, it's like probably the best base for the MMA. Even when you were tapping to guillotine chokes, you still were able to take some of them down. So overall, it's of course the wrestling isn't MMA, but it's you can use your takedowns in the MMA. So it's like very good like base.
100%. I think if you look at like the kind of like the history, I guess I don't want to say like the old UFC, but you could look at the old UFC because like it wasn't wrestling, but it was grappling. Like jiu-jitsu, the smaller guy was always beating the bigger guy. But as it started like progressing in the sport, you started to notice all the wrestlers started to become champions and taking over. Then you started having the Jose Aldos with great takedown defense and becoming the champions. But still in between, he was like one of like all the wrestlers around him. You know what I mean? And like you're looking at it now, it's almost like MMA like does like this thing where it goes from like wrestlers to strikers to jiu-jitsu, back to wrestlers, and now it's starting to hit a point where it's like all these there's a bunch of wrestlers, but they all have striking, they all have kicking, they all have jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? But at the end, it's still like that baseline is wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yes, and right now you are not a wrestler. You are MMA fighter with great power, great hands. So it's not like a one-trick pony, but you are overall a great fighter.
Yeah, exactly. I like to say I'm overall. I don't just say I'm a wrestler. I say I can do everything. Whatever tools I need to use, I can pull them out. I can pull out anything. And the thing about me, a lot of people don't know, I'm not the same fighter every time I fight. I do everything different. I'm different. Like everybody may say, you know, because I'm a little smaller, a little shorter than like a lot of the people, even in 25, I'm probably like size-wise, I'm probably one of the biggest. But like height-wise, you know, everybody, the sport's evolving, so people are just gonna get bigger. The 35ers are like 5'9", 5'10" and up, and then the 25ers are like 5'8", 5 and up. You know what I mean? But size-wise and strength-wise and power-wise, like I'm punching like I'm like 155, 170. So like it translates over, and I'm explosive. So, and I'm also very smart. That's one thing people don't. Even if you study me, you don't know what I'm doing and why I'm doing certain things. So, like Corey can study and do, and his team. I know a lot about his team. It's funny. I'm not gonna say too much, but there's a lot of things over in that camp. Like I know it's like almost like they're trying to pin against me. I feel like I'm Thanos and they're like the Avengers trying to, you know, figure out how to beat me, but it's not gonna work. I mean, he can study, do whatever he wants. I know that everybody's gonna go back and revert to my first fight, my loss when I fought that tall guy, but a lot of people don't know I had one eye and it still was a close fight. You know what I mean? So like two eyes, that everything changes. So he'll see. He'll see. I know he's coming to fight. He's 1-0. And arguably he lost his last fight. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but he arguably lost it. But yeah.
Yeah, yes. And it's hard to take anything from your loss because it was 2 years ago. You for sure much improved. We can see this in the two next fights. So you have to like search for some weaknesses, some disadvantages of your style. But it was quite a long time ago. So maybe it's not the best option.
Yeah, exactly. See, and the thing about me, I'm my biggest critic. Like my coaches are critics, but like me, I'm a perfectionist. So whenever I feel like I look at my last fights, even the ones I won, I'm like, nah, that's not it. Like that yeah, I look cool, but like, see, I'm like, nah, I know I could do this better. I know I could do this better. Like, especially my last one. I got a first round knockout, but it's like, nah, I could have did this better. I could have did this better. You know what I mean? So I feel like in this fight, it's not like I don't think they know they're not going to out technical me. I don't think that, but I think they're going to just try to. They're going to try to do things. You know, everybody like whenever I fight them, they all try to get a little bit dirty with me. You know, but I'm not a dirty fighter. I'm a clean fighter. You know, but after my first loss, there's a lot of things that happen, like him grabbing the cage, like getting kicked in the nuts, like eye poke, just a bunch of little stuff that's just like. You learn, it's like learning on the job. And I was like, oh, okay. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to kind of play the game too. You can't just be clean. Like he kicks you low. You probably should kick him low too. You know, you got to keep it fair because like if you're playing fair and then he's playing unfair and he ends up beating you because he's playing unfair, you know, that morality that you have of being a clean fighter. It doesn't matter when you lost. You look at your resume, you have an L on your record. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to get dirty too, and I can get dirty. Like I'm gritty. I got that dog in me. I got that wrestler dog in me. So like if I got to take it there, I can take it there. And a lot of people haven't seen me take it there because I'm just really clean and precise. And I like to mix it. I like to make it look pretty, man. Vicious and pretty, but at the same time, like if we got to get down and dirty, like he's from down under. We can get down under. We can make it happen, man. I'm down for a scrap.
And in the perfect world, when do you see yourself in the UFC? In how many years?
Oh, this year. Oh yeah. Me and my team, we've been saying UFC 2023. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to run through Corey. I'm not gonna lie. Like I gotta run through him because he's standing in the way of something that like I already know that's destined for me. So no disrespect to Corey, but I'm about to get you out of the way. Like I have to. Like there's nothing, like yeah, it could be respect and all that, but at the end of the day, we're gonna fight, and I gotta run through you because there's a bigger picture for me. Maybe there's a bigger picture for him somewhere else, but not fighting me. There's a reason why I was the boogeyman for the longest, and I still am. But now it's like you locked in. You have to fight me now. Don't back out. Don't be scared. Like it's too late to do any of that. We're a month out, basically. It's time to fight. So I want to be in the UFC by this year or the end of this year, or at least be talking to Dana like, hey, I'm right here, man. Come on. I know you know who I am. You remember me when I was a prospect in amateurs, when I was fighting for LFA. You know what I mean? So it's like I gotta come back. It's like my comeback story.
Yes, and if you can pick some wins either in bantamweight division or flyweight division, it really can happen. Or you can get a chance to fight for the contender series, which is also a good source for young prospects to fight in the UFC.
Exactly. See, the contender series, I'll do that too, but I just feel like I don't know. I just want to, because like the contender series is great. And I like what they do, like how they take all the prospects and bring them together in one house and make them fight and all this stuff. But like for me, like I want to hit as soon as I hit the ground. I want to go sprinting. I'm going straight at it. You know what I mean? Because like, what am I waiting for? I'm 26. I haven't even hit my prime at all. I'm still getting better, stronger. I haven't even shown all the things that I can do. You know what I mean? So I feel like once I get on that track, I feel like I need to just hit it sprinting. I don't need to be sitting around waiting, kind of trying to pick certain things. I need to go. You know what I mean?
And would you be interested in going to the Bellator or maybe ONE FC?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like. See, I'm not one of those closed-minded people where it's like my eyes are only set on this. Like I like to have a lot of options. You know what I mean? I like to look at things, because it's not only just about fighting. Because I guess fighting is one thing, but you got to have financial literacy in the future. I got to be looking out for my family, So if it makes dollars, it makes sense to me, then that's probably where I'm going. You know what I mean? And I know the UFC, everybody talks about the fighter pay and all that stuff, but it's like you got to earn your keep. You know what I mean? So when you come in, it's not like you're gonna be blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like if you look at it, like I think a lot of the UFC fighters, some of the top guys are getting paid way more than the Bellator fighters, but like the sponsorships and all that stuff is kind of what makes up. So it's like a counterbalance. It's like, well, it's like a popularity and like what the peak could be versus like the right now. I'm living in it's like, so it's kind of like what you want to pick. But for me, it's like, I want to go to the UFC. Like, UFC, you see that? You see me you get in the game. Like, it's bigger. It's almost like the NFL. Then you have like the Canadian League. Then you have like all these other football leagues. Like I want to be with the big dogs. Because I feel like for me, those top guys, the guys that I want to fight, the Piotr Jans, the Sean O'Malley's, all those guys are guys I want to fight. And those guys are in the UFC. So that's the route I want to take. The guys in Bellator, they're good as well. Like I'm not saying they couldn't go to the UFC and beat some of the guys, but for me personally, and like some of the goals and people that I want to fight, they're in the UFC. So that's the avenue I want to take.
So Xavier, many thanks for this conversation. I hope that you will pick another win, and you will be in the UFC soon, either in this year or maybe in the beginning of next year, and
Yes,
you
sir.
will knock out another opponents.
Hey, yeah, you already know, man. I'm glad you brought me on this, man, and let me just, talk and actually give me like, a voice pretty much. Because I feel like a lot of people kind of try to keep me hidden, because it's like we know who he is, but we don't want to say his name because we say his name too loud, he's gonna want to fight us. And yeah, I'm not gonna fight you because you're helping me and like you're bringing light to me, which is I really appreciate. I've been telling everybody. I was telling my coach, I was like, oh my god, this guy's gonna interview me. Like, I'm so excited. So I'm really glad and thank you for like interviewing me.
Okay, so thank you and good luck on this bout.
Yes, sir. Thank you. July 15th, Aussie's getting put down under.